What is poppin', y'all? It's your boy D-Marty, aka D-Ron. So back with another video. So today, I'm going to be checking out a video that Hendry is on his WrestleMania match against Randy Orton. And I'm also going to be doing another video that includes what the interview is doing is that did Hendry is losing to Randy Orton made him look weak? So, Hendry, if y'all don't know who he is, most of y'all do, that Hendry came to WrestleMania when Randy Orton was looking for the opponent for him to face at this past year's WrestleMania. So, people thought it was going to be Solo, Rusev, or Aleister Black that was going to be Randy Orton's opponent. But when the music hit of "Say his name now, he appears, I believe in Hendry." Yes, Hendry was the mystery opponent for Randy Orton. And I'm going to speak on a little bit of why he's going to describe why his match against Randy Orton made him look weak. Or, to me, I don't think him at his first WrestleMania show, over 60,000 people, 1 or 2 losses does not hurt a new person coming in. It does not hurt him. It don't. So this is his first WrestleMania, and I will say that he did have a solid, good match with Randy. But people online are talking about, oh, why is Hendry being buried as TNA World Champion? Randy Orton should took a loss here, blah, blah, blah. You cannot win with these people on the internet, man. You just cannot. So, we're just going to get into this video. And before we get into all of that, if you haven't already yet, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already yet. Turn on notifications, follow me on social medias, because I will be posting every week. So any further ado, let's get straight to this video.
How did they sneak you into the building?
Sorry, I did not answer that question.
No,
and this is a problem we have. This is a problem we have.
We're just hanging out.
Yeah, I'll get talking. All right, so we got me in a car at WWE. Okay. I had to change in the car. Not into my wrestling gear. We did that at the building. I had to change in the car, and it was like I got the most generic hoodie possible. So it was like Las Vegas hoodie or whatever. I had a COVID mask. I had sunglasses. I looked ridiculous. It was like covered head to toe. And honestly, I wasn't even in the betting odds. You know, there was an other category where you would have to manually put in Hendry. That's how secretive this was. It was it was not one of the standard options. There were about 10 options, and I was in other.
People really thought it'd be Nick Aldis. It would have made a lot of sense there. Of course, he has an incredible pedigree in the ring.
Yeah.
That one made a lot of sense, right? So people were like, man.
And actually, on that topic, this is how cool Nick is. Nick came along to help with this moment. So he invested his time to give input about what we could do. So the fact that Nick gave his time to help that moment, that's how cool it is.
They were also like, oh, maybe it's Rusev. He's probably returning. Maybe it's Malachi Black. We know that there's been these vignettes for him. You're right. You're way down.
Yeah, that's what everybody was thinking. That it was going to be Rusev or Aleister Black. That was going to be the mystery opponent for Randy Orton. But people was not liking that the mystery opponent was going to be Solo Sikoa. But nobody does not want to see that. Nobody does not want to see Solo Sikoa in the main event, not the main event, in the spotlight of WrestleMania. So I'm glad that he was not an opponent for that. And we got Hendry. Well, if it was going to be Nick Aldis versus Randy Orton, which I could probably see that, somewhere down the line, they probably may do that. You could have Nick Aldis come out this GM of SmackDown and have one more match against Randy Orton, and then he will just go back as the GM of SmackDown. So if they're planning on doing that, then that's fine. So yeah, man. Nick Aldis always getting RKO by Randy Orton. So yeah, man. Hopefully they do that somewhere down the line this year, man.
On the list,
yeah,
which makes this even better.
Yeah, it was very intense, you know, because it's like from speaking to people backstage at the Rumble, they told me it'll be over in a flash. So I'm going into WrestleMania knowing that's the case. I know I'm going to go in there and it's going to be over in an instant.
So you get into the building, they've snuck you into the building,
Yeah.
they take you to some room away from everybody else, so the locker room doesn't even know you're there.
Yes.
Then who comes in to, be like, all right, you're up in an hour or two or whatever?
Just different staff members. So it was just different members of WWE personnel that were keeping me updated.
Did you see Randy at all before the show?
Again, there's peeling back the curtain.
And I respect that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go out there.
Yeah.
What's that moment like when your music hits?
It was, so at Rumble, it was like, the way I describe it to people is putting on a VR headset. So it's like, it just doesn't feel real. If you've ever had like VR to experience like, somewhere you haven't been before, it's like the uncanny valley, right? The people are just dots at a certain point. You're just going, how can 70,000 people get into one building and they're making noise? There's something, it's just, I can't describe the feeling. That's one thing. But WrestleMania, when it's a singles match against Randy Orton in his 20th WrestleMania, I'm in the back watching the video package and I'm like, oh, this is a big deal. It was then I was going, whoa, So I walk out and the way I described the noise, and it was like a literal physical wave of energy. I felt like when I was walking to the ring, it was almost like this physical wave, just like of positivity, almost like pushing against me as I was walking down to the ring. It felt like something that very few human beings have been privileged enough to experience, but it was everything I wanted it to be.
There was a moment during you walking down the ramp where you kind of turn around and you look at everything. What are you thinking in that moment?
It's hard to say. I think I was just trying to be as present as possible. And that's something else I learned from Triple H. He was on a podcast with Tim Ferriss, I think.
I love that episode.
Yeah, and
that's from years ago.
Yeah, and so Tim actually compiled a bunch of his interviews into a book called Tools for Titans. Yeah, you know,
Of course.
Yeah.
Love that book.
And what they talk about in that book is about the importance of being present. So whatever you're doing with if I'm here, I'm talking. If I'm in the ring, I'm focused on the best performance. If I'm with family, I'm trying to be present in the moment. So that I've really carried that with me. I try and be as present as possible. So that's one thing. Just trying to enjoy it.
There's a moment after the match where Randy's sharing some words with you.
Yeah.
What's he saying?
So what I got from Randy is that I was, very humbled by the fact that he was really happy because it's his 20th wrestling. I remember being 15 years old, walking home from school, talking to Randy Orton about my friends. Talking to Randy. We can cut that, right? So I remember walking home from school, talking to my friends about Randy Orton, right? And to go from that moment to actually wrestling him at WrestleMania, I texted that friend from school that had that conversation. I just texted him the graphic of me and Randy standing opposite each other, and he was just like, proud of you, big guy. It's insane. It's insane.
What's he saying? Because he's pointing at you, he's pointing at everybody.
Yeah. So they actually released the verbiage of what he said. But he was basically saying, he was basically saying, I appreciate you being part of this moment, and you showed up for these people, and you showed up for me, and then, well, what happened next?
Did he plan to do your move? Did he plan to do the spin around?
Again, I don't know how much, but I'll do a little bit.
Okay, give me a little.
So I'll tell you this. He didn't. He was like, should I not? He goes, let's call out there. He's like, if I'm feeling it, I'll do it. And to me, that was, all right, he had a good time,
Yeah, man. When Joe did the smile when he turned around, and then the camera zoomed in on his face, and then out of nowhere, Randy just hits the RKO, which I thought that was the best part of WrestleMania of that weekend. But yeah, man, Joe Hendry getting the huge biggest spotlight of his entire not career, but his entire life. And once his contract expires from TNA, I don't know exactly where he's going to go. Probably to NXT, or he might as well just skip NXT and just go straight to the main roster. Who knows? Probably might. He has been appearing on NXT a couple of times, and I did not watch the match. He did have a match last weekend at NXT Battleground when he was defeating Trick Williams from the TNA World Title, and I kindly had to go back and watch that match. I'm pretty sure that match was good, but I never really got a chance to watch it because I was at home visiting family for the weekend, and hopefully somewhere this weekend I could probably check it out to watch the match. But I could probably tell the match was good for what it was. So, we're going to get into the next video. Did Joe Hendry losing to Randy Orton make him look weak? So that's the video we're going to get into next. Let's get straight into it.
So what do you think when people say that it makes the TNA champion look weak when you lose in, I don't know how long the match was, 5 or 10 minutes?
I think that in wrestling, everything has to be a story. So in the movie, does Rocky win every single match? You know what I mean? The story is, Joe Hendry lost to Randy Orton. How is the champion going to recover from this? You know who else lost quickly at WrestleMania? John Cena to The Undertaker. Mm-hmm. You know who else lost quickly at WrestleMania? Triple H. You know what I mean? It's like people have lost quickly at WrestleMania. And
yeah, I mean, everybody cannot just win every match all the time. It's like when you have a new star appearing like Joe Hendry, I mean, we all know that Joe Hendry was not going to win by beating Randy Orton. But the outcome is that he had a good, solid match with Randy. And he should just not just be winning matches all the time. You have to take a loss. Losing to 1 or 2 matches does not hurt you. It does not hurt you. I'm telling y'all. 1 or 2 losses does not hurt you if you're undefeated. Now, if you're losing way, like 3, 4, or 5 times, something has to be done there. Something has to be done there to get back to your mystique and get the momentum back of where you was at before. It's like with John Cena, because he, like Joe Hendry said, like John Cena, whether or not back in WrestleMania 34, when John Cena did not know if he was going to have an opponent for WrestleMania or not, we all know it was The Undertaker, and then guess what happened? The Undertaker beat John Cena, and I don't even know what was the time limit for that. I will probably say it probably went about like 3 or 4 minutes. That match, that was like a whole waste of time. A complete waste of time. A complete waste of time there. But wins should just not matter. It does matter, but at certain times it should not matter. But you have to just win matches more and more. But if you're taking more losses as you are on a weekly basis, then that is an issue that has to be fixed. So I agree with what he says right here.
And these are the stories that we're telling. When John Cena lost to The Undertaker, it was what is the path from here? And that's what I've really learned from watching John Cena, is that just make everything a story. Everything is a story. So it's just about, okay, where do I go from here as champion? It added more weight and drama to the triple threat that we had, because it was me, it was Frankie, and it was Ethan Page. And it's like, the partnership's so strong. You know, it's all 3 outcomes were completely within the realms of possibility, and nobody knew what was going to happen that night. Not even we knew what was going to happen that night, right up until the wire. So, and that's when it's exciting, when anything can happen.
I agree with him. I definitely agree with this. The fact that you are going to have to make a story, even with John Cena. I mean, he has not won a match since 2018, I think, when he defended Triple H at Saudi Arabia in Crown Jewel, I believe. But he has not won a match in 7 years. He won his first match since then by beating Triple H. And ever since that, and I definitely got to be honest here with y'all, I do like the fact that John Cena has turned heel was the best thing that we got this year. to me, I just feel like of how John Cena's heel run is going so far this past year. Honestly, I'm gonna have to be honest with y'all. It's not looking good so far right now. It's not looking good. The way how things are just happening. I mean, John Cena's not making a lot of appearances as he should be, but he's champion. And I don't like the fact that a part-timer is being a champion and he's not going to be defending the title as much because they're not going to be as present for WWE half of the time. But with Joe Hendry's standpoint of what he brought up, that losing matches, it does not hurt you. It comes to the extent of like, if you're losing too many matches, and that could be part of the story. The same thing what John Cena has to go through. Like, he's been just losing matches. I mean, he finally won a singles match and won number 17 of the WWE title by beating Cody Rhodes. And that's where Joe Hendry ended up losing the TNA World title to Trick Williams, which, like I said, I am going to go back and watch. But Joe Hendry, he's going to be so massive in WWE when his contract expires. Like, he's definitely going to be something huge for the company for that time to be when he gets there. But yeah, one loss, two losses is not going to affect him at all. This is his first time at WrestleMania, and people are going to complain on why he's losing and he's TNA World Champion. Like, you can't just win all the time. There have to be sometimes you gotta have to take losses. But the thing is, it's like this is your first time being at the biggest event of the year. And yes, you can have take a win or take a loss. It happens with every wrestler. It happens with every single wrestler, whether it's somebody new or somebody that's been in WWE for like a long period of time. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just taking one loss or two losses 2 times in a row. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, y'all let me know what your thoughts about this, and follow me on social medias down below. I'll be back with another video, y'all. Peace.
My moment to shine. This is my time of flight. I've been grinding forever just for this very night. I've been pushing for many moments like this. This time is undervalued and no one ever could.